Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the person you love, the one with whom you shared your dreams and built a life, suddenly abandons you for a reason you would never expect: your appearance. It's a tough blow, isn't it? Now, think about what it's like to feel belittled by someone who should support you in your most difficult times, someone who should love you unconditionally. When the husband decided to leave his wife because he was unhappy with her weight, he believed the grass was greener on the other side. But was he right? What if we told you that he ended up discovering, in the worst way possible, that superficial beauty is not synonymous with true happiness? The twist this story takes is not only surprising, but also a powerful reminder that the choices we make today can haunt us tomorrow. Get ready to dive into a narrative that will challenge your beliefs and make you question what really matters in life. The beginning of this story is marked by a feeling of dissatisfaction that, unfortunately, many people have already experienced. The husband, frustrated with his wife's appearance, does not hesitate to express his criticism in a cruel way. "You stop taking care of yourself," he said, not realizing the weight of those words. It's easy, in a moment of irritation, to say things that we later deeply regret. He compared his wife to other women, creating an emotional distance that, little by little, eroded their relationship. This attitude, which may seem harmless to some, is a true emotional trap, capable of destroying the self-esteem of those we love. Often, the problem is not with the person we love, but with how we are seeing the situation. He viewed his wife with a critical eye, focusing only on what he considered her flaws, instead of recognizing the qualities that one day made him fall in love with her. At this stage of life, he believed that happiness was linked to physical appearance, and he began to look outside the home for something that he thought was missing. This search often leads to thoughtless decisions, which later turn into regrets that are difficult to overcome. This couple's story teaches us that misplaced words can have a devastating impact, especially when used repeatedly. The husband, instead of supporting his wife, chose to constantly criticize her, which only increased her insecurity. This behavior is a form of emotional abuse, and many people don't realize that they are deeply hurting those around them. Constant criticism, instead of motivating positive change, can lead to the destruction of love and trust, essential elements in any relationship. For some, this is just another story of a marriage that didn't work out, but for others, it's a wake-up call. The way we deal with challenges in life as a couple can determine the success or failure of a relationship. If you find yourself in a similar situation, it's important to stop and reflect on what really matters. Criticizing someone for their appearance or for any other superficial reason is not the solution. Perhaps what's missing is a reconnection with the love that brought the couple together in the beginning. With each derogatory comment, the husband distanced himself further from his wife, without realizing that he was also distancing himself from himself. Emotional exhaustion is a natural consequence of this type of behavior, and when he finally decided to leave his wife, thinking he would find something better, he had no idea that he was, in fact, sowing the seeds of his own downfall. And here begins the next phase of this journey, where the impact of your actions becomes more evident and inevitable. After the painful separation, the wife felt as if her world had fallen apart. However, instead of allowing despair to consume her, she decided to turn her pain into strength. Many in a situation like this might give in to discouragement, but she chose a different path. She realized that the only person who could rescue her from that deep sadness was herself. He then began a journey of self-discovery and recovery, focused on taking care of himself, both physically and emotionally. It wasn't just about losing weight, but about finding her self-esteem and self-worth again, something that had been undermined over the years. In her new routine, she adopted healthier habits, starting an exercise program that not only improved her physical condition, but also gave her a new perspective on life. She came to understand that the external transformation was a reflection of the internal changes she was experiencing. By taking care of her health, she rediscovered a strength that had always been there, but that for various reasons had been left aside. For her, every drop of sweat was a step towards a new version of herself, stronger, more resilient. A practical example of this can be seen when she decided to hire a personal trainer to guide her on her journey. This decision, which may seem simple, was actually a milestone in her transformation, as it represented a commitment to herself. In addition to physical exercise, she also started investing in her mental health, practicing meditation, and seeking therapies that helped her process her feelings. If you find yourself in a similar situation, you can start with small changes, such as incorporating daily walks, or even seeking the company of a professional to help you stay on track. As time passed, physical changes became evident, but more than that, his confidence also grew. She was no longer the same person who had been left behind. Every day, she felt stronger, more confident, and above all, happier. She understood that true power lay in taking control of her life, rather than depending on approval from someone who didn't value who she really was. This process of self-worth was crucial for her to be able to get up and move forward, leaving the hurt and resentment behind. And so, without her ex-husband knowing, she was preparing for a reunion that would forever change the dynamic between them. While he believed she would be lost without him, she proved to herself every day that her inner strength was far greater than any criticism or rejection she had suffered. And so, we begin to see the unfolding of the downfall of those who one day underestimated her. While the wife rose from the ashes, the husband began to experience the weight of his choices. At first, he believed he had done the right thing by leaving his wife for someone younger and more attractive, but slowly reality began to show its claws. The new partner, who seemed perfect at first glance, soon revealed her true intentions. For him, it was a shock to realize that he had fallen into a trap, exchanging a solid relationship for a fleeting illusion. This discovery was a hard blow, as he now found himself disillusioned and alone. In a scenario that many could predict, but that he would never have imagined, the new partner began to distance herself, showing that her interest was more in superficial advantages than in a genuine commitment. This behavior left the husband vulnerable, plunging him into a spiral of insecurities and regrets. The loss of emotional stability, previously guaranteed by his relationship with his wife, became a burden he didn't know how to carry. It is common, in situations like this, for the person to seek to compensate for this lack through self-destructive behaviors, and that is exactly what happened to him. Without the support structure that his wife represented, he began to sink into unhealthy habits. Depression, which slowly took over his life, brought with it significant weight gain. The irony of the situation was not lost on him. He had criticized his wife for getting carried away, but now he himself was going down the same path. This vicious cycle of self-indulgence and guilt has left him stuck in a state of apathy, unable to see a clear way out. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, when trying to escape something, we end up encountering exactly what we feared. A practical example of this decline can be seen in their changes in behavior. He who was previously strict with his exercise routine began missing training sessions, replacing them with hours in front of the television, accompanied by junk food. This change was not only physical, but also emotional. He lost the sparkle in his eyes, the one he had when he still believed he was in control of his life. It's a warning to all of us. A lack of self-care and disregard for true relationships can lead us down a path of self-destruction. And so, without realizing it, he was about to reap what he sowed. Life, with its relentless wisdom, was about to teach him a difficult but necessary lesson. When the reunion with his wife finally happened, he could hardly believe his eyes. Her transformation, contrasting with his own decline, was the final blow that forced him to confront his choices. The next step in this story reveals the consequences of this inevitable encounter. The reunion between husband and wife was a moment full of conflicting emotions. He, now heavier and haggard, almost didn't recognize the woman he had once belittled. She, on the other hand, displayed a confidence and appearance that reflected all the effort and dedication put into her transformation. The contrast was stark. While she had blossomed, he had withered. The role reversal was clear, and at that moment, he realized how much he had underestimated the strength and determination of the woman who had once been his companion. The husband, in his attempt to regain what he had lost, tried to reconnect with her. But time and emotional distance had created a chasm that could no longer be ignored. She, who might have given him before, now saw clearly what she really deserved. He tried to justify his actions, but she, with a serenity acquired through much self-knowledge, made him understand that that chapter of his life was closed. It was as if she had completely overcome her need for his approval, which freed her from any feelings of inferiority. This moment of role reversal is a phenomenon that many have witnessed, where those who were once underestimated finally take control of the situation. He, now humiliated by his own fall, could not help but feel a mixture of regret and shame. She, in turn, was at peace with herself, knowing that she had done everything in her power to save the marriage, but that, in the end, her happiness depended solely on her own choices. For those who observe from the outside, it is clear that true victory lies in not letting oneself be defeated by circumstances, but rather in using them as a springboard to a better life. In a last gesture of desperation, her husband asked for a second chance, but she, with firmness and compassion, refused. She knew that going back would mean giving up all the personal growth she had achieved. This is a crucial point for anyone who is in a transformation process, understanding that sometimes what we lose is precisely what allows us to gain something much greater. She had learned that her worth did not depend on someone else's opinion, but rather on the respect and love she had for herself. From that point on, their lives followed different paths. He, now dealing with the consequences of his choices, had to confront the reality that what he considered irrelevant had become essential. And she, free from the constraints of the past, was ready to embrace new opportunities, taking with her the lessons learned. This ending leaves us with a powerful reflection on the importance of valuing who we are and who we have by our side before it is too late.